So the final of the Cape Town Sevens has been confirmed. It will be South Africa, the host nation, going head-to-head up against Los Pumas. And in this matchup, it is one we have already seen this year on the Sevens circuit. It was a very close game, and this one here for the final could be no different. But in this preview, we'll be looking through at the previous results for these two sides, their key players to watch out for, and then also a prediction at the end of who I think will win this contest. But jumping straight into it, for South Africa, they have been on a dream run here in Cape Town, getting themselves 4 wins from 4 to remain the only undefeated side in this whole competition. Their first game was up against the Fijians, and at times there were some shaky moments for the Blitzboks, but going on to win that game 24 points to 21 with a Shilton Funvake hat-trick, and they were not the only tries that man has scored throughout the Cape Town Sevens, getting himself the double in the semi-final as well. In the next game, it was up against the All Blacks Sevens, and the win for South Africa, 19 points to 14. Their following game was a one-sided affair up against Great Britain, 41 points to 7. And then the semi-final up against the French. Now, the last time that these two sides played, it was actually in Dubai just last weekend. It was an extremely close game. This one here in Cape Town, it was the same. It started as a bit of a seesaw match, but in the end, the Blitzboks winning it 22 points to 17, with the double being scored by Shilton Funvake, like I mentioned, and a last-minute try from Oosterhuizen to finish off the job for the Boks. But moving on to Argentina and what they have been able to do throughout their campaign, 36-0 victory over Australia in the opening contest. And we've got to remember, South Africa finished dead last in last week's Dubai Sevens competition. So the fact that they have gone from last to now a chance in the final and looking pretty good heading into this finals matchup, it just shows you how quickly the world of Sevens can change, and also how competitive the 8 sides are all up against each other. But 24 points to 19 was the victory for Argentina up against the French in the group stage. So they won their first 2 games, but then actually suffered the loss to Spain in their third match of yesterday, 31 points to 26. Now, some sides, when they suffer a loss, they struggle in their next contest. But Argentina did not have that situation. Up against the Fijians in the semi-final, they came out absolutely firing. Now, Fiji fought back valiantly near the end of that contest, but the damage was done early. The win for Argentina, 29 points to 21. And if they want any chance to be able to beat South Africa on South African soil, they will have to start fast and at this match as well. But looking through at the key players, Shilton Funvake for the South Africans has been incredible. He has already scored himself the hat-trick in one game, the double in another, and he just, every time he touches the ball, looks like he's going to create some magic for the Blitzboks side. He's been partnering well with Tristan Lades, but there is concern, that man going off the field for an HIA in the match up against the French. Now, I didn't hear whether or not he passed it, but if he didn't, that means that he will not be playing in this contest. And to me, that is a pretty significant hit to the South African team, mainly because of the work that he's been able to do partnering with Funvake throughout the early stages. Selvin Davids, he is always going to be one of those players who can make an absolutely huge difference. Now, something that he hasn't been doing too well throughout the Cape Town Sevens, and that's normally a pretty short list for Selvin Davids, is his kicking. They haven't been able to get those extra 2s on quite a few occasions. Here's South Africa. Now, it didn't cost them too much last week. It hasn't cost them so far in Cape Town. But up against a side like Argentina, who have actually also been struggling when it comes to conversions, I just feel like in a close kind of game, either of these sides, whoever kicks better, more than likely will win this contest. For the Sevens final, another player to keep an eye out for as well. I feel like Impivesa has been really stepping up for the South Africans alongside Donovan Don as well. I've honestly just listed this whole Blitzboks side. But for the Argentines, Marcos Moneta, player to definitely keep an eye out for. The problem he's got is, looked like he had a bit of an ankle injury near the end of the game up against the Fijians. Now, he did go on to continue in that game a little bit further, so hopefully that means he is 100% making his way into the final. Luciano Gonzalez, he has been scoring a huge amount of tries. At the moment, it is between him, Shilton Funvake, and also Vuiviwa Natovalo for the Fijians. But all of them have been helping their side substantially when it comes to the points on the board. Gonzalez in that game up against the Fijians, he got himself yellow carded, came back onto the field, still scored a try. So he is definitely one of those guys that only needs a little short moment to be able to change a game. For Los Pumas, Santiago Mari, the captain for the Pumas. He was able to score himself 2 tries in the game up against Fiji, and he wasn't the only Santiago to score a double in that game. Santiago Alvarez also crossing the try line twice for Argentina. But those are the key players. Those are the recent fixtures. Now we are up to the stage of a prediction. Now, I got my last one wrong. I thought that Fiji may be able to pull off the win over the Argentines, and I don't think that comes down to underestimating Argentina. I just maybe underestimated how badly Fiji would play in that semi-final fixture. South Africa, though, in front of the home crowd. Cape Town has been rocking throughout this whole weekend of Rugby Sevens. They are firmly behind the home side. They would love nothing more than to make it back-to-back, as South Africa were the victors for last year's Cape Town Sevens. And I think they're going to make it happen. And I actually think we're going to see a scoreline similar to what I predicted for Fiji versus Argentina. I'm going South Africa to win this game 26 points to 24. Now, if there was ever a game to get the kicking right, it's the final. And I'd like to think there'll be a little bit of strategy going into it for the blitz box, that if you get half an opportunity, run it round, make it easier for your goal kickers, because that could be the difference between a win and a loss in such a tightly contested game when these two sides normally play. But this game, it is kicking off at 3:43 a.m. New Zealand time, which will be 4:43 p.m. for you guys in South Africa. We are going to be doing the live commentary on the channel, so be sure to check that out. But let me know your score predictions in the comments as well, and I will see you all for the next one.